Did you miss me? No, you didn't, because before I had a kid, by the way, I had a kid, we shot a bunch of extra videos and we posted them while I was taking some time off with my kid. By the way, I have a kid. And I almost finished this trade tree that is a secret now, but then there was a kid, so I'm doing it now. Hi, I'm Steve Dangle. You're on Sportsnet's YouTube channel, and this is another trade tree, and it's a good one. It's great if you're a fan of the Ottawa Senators or just like making fun of the resume of Mike Milbury. And that guy has Twitter now, so if they find me somewhere with a shoe print in the middle of my forehead, you'll know who did it. This is the, what should we call it? There's three really big names involved. Let's call it the Alexei Yashin trade tree. Now, Alexei Yashin was a really good player for a really long time for the Ottawa Senators, and he played when they had the 2D logo that may or may not be making a comeback. And then they switched away from the 2D logo when like every sports franchise in the world was like, what if it was our logo but diagonal? And here's the thing, Alexei Yashin was a very good player for the Ottawa Senators, but then he was like, I don't really want to be a hockey player for the Ottawa Senators, so he sat out for a while. What a player though, didn't miss a beat. Get a load of this. The 98-99 season, 44 goals, 50 assists for 94 points in a full 82 game season in the heart of the dead puck era. 99-2000 takes the entire year off, comes back to the Ottawa Senators organization for the 2000-2001 season, and there's no way he's gonna come back as good. 40 goals, 48 assists for 88 points in a full 82 game season once again. He was good. A lot of people roll their eyes when it comes to Alexei Yashin, and for good reason. Maybe by the end of this video you'll see why, but he was a really good hockey player for a while. He was the second overall pick in 1992 and the second highest scoring player from that draft class with 781 points. Number one, by the way, Sergei Gonchar, a pair of Russians. But with the full season off, it's in the air. Like Alexei Yashin, who is a very good hockey player, could be had for the right price. And the New York Islanders said, how's this for the right price? And I'm going to word this very carefully. The New York Islanders acquire back-to-back, technically, 40 goal scorer Alexei Yashin in exchange for depth forward Bill McCult, a defenseman who I won't name just yet, but they were a third-round pick in 1996, so 5 years prior to this, and the second overall pick in 2001. Now we get into the wonderful world of Mike Milbury trades. The second overall pick, why would you go and do something like that? Trade the second overall pick. Why? Now let me ask you this, Ottawa Senators fans specifically, would you be willing to part ways with a top 5 pick if you picked twice in the top 5 the year before? Never know, could be topical. Well, that's what the New York Islanders did. They had both the 5th and the 1st overall pick in the year 2000. In 1999, hilarious, they had the 5th, 8th, 10th, and 28th pick in the draft. What do they need the second for? Well, in 2000, with the 5th overall pick, the New York Islanders select Raffi Torres. Now, you've probably heard that name said a bunch of times. You just read it in Brendan Shanahan or Patrick Burke's voice. What I'm trying to say is he got suspended. A lot. And because of that, a lot of people just think of him as this enforcer, this goon. Not at all true. He had a 20-goal season in the NHL, a 27-goal season, 5th overall pick. Guy put up 43 goals and 91 points in the OHL in his draft year. You're not picking that guy? And with the 1st overall pick, Rick DiPietro, who the New York Islanders gave $1.5 million to this season, and will do the same next season, and the season after that, and the season after that, and the season after that, till 2028-29, man. That's because he was bought out of a $67.5 million contract, which today sounds like nothing, but how about the fact that it was spread over 15 years? Yeah, there's a reason there's a cap of 7 or 8 now. I digress. I tell you all that to tell you this. In 99 and 2000 combined, the Islanders had 6 first-round picks, and 5 of them were in the top 10. I kind of get the thought process. At some point, we gotta make a move. We gotta actually show our fans we're trying to win here. And getting Alexei Yashin at that time was definitely a sign, yeah, we're trying to make a move. And it worked out so bad. Well, why, Steve? Why did it work out so bad? Bill McCult? Well, no. In 70 games with the Ottawa Senators, he put up 8 points, and none of those points were goals. All assists. The second overall pick, however, that one stings. That one stings a lot, actually. That was Jason Spezza, man. And I know he's old, graybeard now, but back in the day, Jason Spezza was something else to watch, man. Rarely did a guy labeled a playmaker light you up for 30 goals so often. That guy played in 686 games for the Ottawa Senators. You want to know the stat line? 251 goals. Remember, this is just as a member of the Ottawa Senators. 436 assists for 686 7 points. He was 1 point above a point a game. I love it. His best season as a Senator was ironically one where he missed a little bit of time, but the Senators did their best. They made it all the way to Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final against the Anaheim Ducks. That season, Jason Spezza was part of the trio of assassins that was himself, Daniel Alfredsson, and Danny Heatley. They terrorized the NHL that season. Spezza had 34 goals and 87 points in just 67 games. Had he played the full 82, that would have put him on a 41 goal pace and a pace of 106 points. He also put up 22 points in 20 playoff games. Oh, you want me to talk about the other guy? Well, who's the other? Bill McCult, I already talked about. Oh, the defenseman, the unnamed. Oh, the New York Islanders' history, especially throughout the 90s, is loaded with huge names where you're like, that guy was on the Isles? Roberto Luongo? But this one hurts. This one's bad. Zdeno Chara. Remember I talked about the Islanders wanting to, prove they could win now? It's almost justifiable when you're like, well, okay, I could see why they didn't have patience there. But with Zdeno Chara, it's like, no, if you waited literally a few months. His stat lines with the Islanders are hilarious. Zdeno Chara had 4 seasons with the New York Islanders. His goal totals were 0, 2, 2, and 2. His point totals were 1, 8, 11, woo, and 9. But at the same time, dude, he's 6'9". He's the biggest player in the league. Wait! Just wait! He was a 3rd-round pick. You picked him as a flyer anyway. Just let's see what happens with the big guy. They said, nope, 4 seasons, that's enough. And oh, the instant regret. In his first season as a member of the Ottawa Senators, the big guy scores 23 points, up from his career high of 11. 10 of them are goals, though. The following season, only 9 goals, but 36 points, followed by 16 goals, 43 points on the back end from a guy who stands 6'9", 250 or 60 pounds. You don't want that guy? Now, here's the only problem, and it's a haunting aspect of Ottawa Senators history. Everyone wanted that guy. That's the problem. That was a contract year for Zdeno Chara. And instead of staying with the Ottawa Senators, the Sens even sort of made a choice for him. The Sens were stacked, and they opted to stick with Wade Redden. And you can laugh and call him dumb for doing that, but remember, the first season the Sens didn't have Zdeno Chara was the one where they went to the Stanley Cup Final and were terrorizing the league. They were still really, really good. But might Zdeno Chara have provided that little something the Sens needed against Chris Pronger's Anaheim Ducks in the Stanley Cup Final? We'll never know. Now, it's easy to make fun of the Ottawa Senators, to dunk on them for letting Zdeno Chara walk, especially to a divisional rival. But I remember at the time when Zdeno Chara signed with the Boston Bruins for $7.5 million per season, I was laughing. I was like, oh my goodness, the Bruins are going to be so cap-strapped forever. Little did I know he would torture my team for over a decade. But the fact of the matter is the Sens were good. Too good, even, and that's what the salary cap sort of ruined. But the fact of the matter is, the Alexei Yashin deal was a fleecing based on Jason Spezza alone. But to add in nearly 300 games of Zdeno Chara on top of that, it's unbelievable. So Zdeno Chara walks, Bill McCult out of the picture, Jason Spezza and the Ottawa Senators can't get it done, so eventually he's got to get traded. Spezza was packaged with Ludwig Karlsson and sent to the Dallas Stars in exchange for Alex Chiasson, Alexander Guptill, Nicholas Paul, and a 2nd-round pick in 2015. It didn't really end up being the huge splash that the Ottawa Senators were probably hoping for, but they did get a lot of service out of it. Alex Chiasson only put up 40 points with the Ottawa Senators, but he did play 153 games for them. The Sens didn't exactly have McDavid in their lineup, did they? The Sens traded Alexander Guptill as part of an 8-piece deal. I want to read this deal to you, and you'll see why it's not included on this trade tree. The Sens get Jason Akeson, Philip Verone, Jerome Gauthier-Leduc, and a conditional pick. The Sabres get Michael Zdow, Alexander Guptill, Cole Schneider, and Eric Odell. That's like the quietest 8-player deal I've ever seen. You can't start the trade tree with we got rid of Jason Spezza and Zdeno Chara in the same deal and then come at me with that. The 2nd-rounder in 2015 unfortunately turned out to be Mackenzie Blackwood, who the Ottawa Senators did not draft because they packaged a 3rd-round pick in 2016 and sent it to the New Jersey Devils, and with their 2nd-round pick, the Sens drafted Gabriel Gagne. And the Devils were a bit of a running gag for a while, but Mackenzie Blackwood started to put together a pretty tidy little season. And then and Gabriel Gagne was then dealt to the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for Morgan Klimchuk. Just a minor league deal there. Which leads me to this. The only thing the Ottawa Senators have remaining from this deal that was almost 20 years ago is Nicholas Paul. He's played 112 NHL games for the Ottawa Senators, including this current season. It's still current, technically. Well, not for them. Oh, and I forgot to tidy up Chason. He was dealt to the Calgary Flames in exchange for Patrick Sailoff. Ottawa Senators fans might remember him as the guy who drilled Clark MacArthur in training camp and was then promptly beat up by Bobby Ryan. Because, dude! And then Sailoff was dealt for Brian Gibbons, who was actually a pretty good Ottawa Senator for 20 games. He put up 14 points, but that's all. So obviously the deal has fizzled a bit over time, but any deal is going to do that. The fact of the matter is the Ottawa Senators got nearly 1,000 games played out of Jason Spezza and Zdeno Chara alone. If you add in Bill McCult, it puts him over 1,000. What about Alexei Yashin? He was good with the Islanders, real good, especially in his first season, but not quite the 40 goal scorer that he was with the Sen. He had 32 goals, which is really good, and 75 points, which is really good in 78 games. Really good. But maybe not quite as good as the Islanders were expecting. Hilariously, they played the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round of the 2002 playoffs, and I remember, like, oh, Alexei Yashin was totally shut down. That dude had 7 points in 7 games. A win's a win. I'd kill for a series win at this point, but wow. But maybe the problem with Alexei Yashin's tenure as a New York Islander is that's the best it got. He never topped 30 goals in a season again, and he never topped 70 points in a season again, and he was still good, you know, in the 20s, but that is not second overall pick Zdeno Chara and even Bill McCult worthy. And more importantly, there was this little wrinkle too. September 5th, 2001, Alexei Yashin signs a 10-year contract for just a hair under $64 million. First 3 seasons, technically no problem, because there is no cap. Who cares? Whee! The entire 2004-2005 season is canceled because of a lockout, and 05-06 they return to play with a salary cap. And all of a sudden, Yashin and the Islanders return to play with a heavy salary cap hit of $7.415 million. The New York Islanders tolerated 2 seasons of that before they said, nope, not anymore. We're buying you out. Thank you to capfriendly.com for this. June 6, 2007, Alexei Yashin was bought out, and wow. They must have really wanted out of that. The value of the buyout was over $17.6 million, and it was spread over 8 years. The cap hit was pretty complicated. First year, the Islanders actually get about $1.2 million in cap savings. The second year, though, a little over $2 million against the cap. The next year, over $3.2 million against the cap. The next year, over $4.7 against the cap for a player who's not even playing for you and hasn't for several years. And then year 5, 6, 7, and 8, $2.204 million against the cap. For a guy who hasn't played for your team in so long, he's practically a ghost. Here, maybe this will help you out. Alexei Yashin was bought out by the New York Islanders shortly after the Anaheim Ducks won their Stanley Cup in 2007. That buyout was paid until the Blackhawks won their 3rd of 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years. Oof, Maroon. Listen, I don't care what you think about Nick Paul, but he's better than $2.2 million for nothing. And that is the end of the trade tree. But let me ask you this. I don't think I've ever asked this in a trade tree video. Leave a comment in the comment box down below. Is this the best trade in Ottawa Senators history? I'm struggling to think of a better one. How can you get Jason Spezza and Zdeno Chara in the same deal and not have it be the best one ever? Come on. And as always in the comment box, hit us with suggestions. I've been getting tons over the past few weeks from people who did not know that I was taking time off, and I'm like, dude, I am sleeping in 2 to 3 hour intervals. Can you chill? Actually, I'm gonna go do one of those 2 to 3 hour sleeps right now. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends. If Mike Bilberry calls, you answer.